McGillicuddy and Murder's Pawn Shop. Episode 4. The Man with the Color-Changing Tie. September 11th, 1921. My eyes are changing color. I don't just mean that they've started to glow in the dark. I mean they're turning hazel. They used to be gray, but the middle part is turning brownish now, and there's a distinct green rim around my irises. I don't know how I'm going to explain it to my friends. They're bound to notice, of course. Even Mr. Levy stopped today and looked at me, like he was sure something was wrong. He stared at my face, and then he said with a stammer, "Have you changed your hair?" I think it's the first time Mr. Levy has ever looked at my face. "No," I said innocently, and he went away confused. He's sure something is different about my face, and he's right. He's just never noticed me before, so he can't figure out what's different now. I'm stuck with changing eyeballs, the ability to write cryptic messages with my own bodily fluids, and no idea why. After the old man vanished in McGillicuddy and Murders, he never reappeared. I half expected him to be around the next corner, but I searched high and low throughout the pawn shop, and he was nowhere. He left the place completely unguarded. I could have walked out with anything I wanted. I think his eyes do glow in the dark, and he was desperate that I not see them. But why? I don't know where to turn next. I have a sneaking suspicion the old man will never return to McGillicuddy and Murders. Either that, or I'll be barred from future entry. He knows I know something, and he's determined to tell me nothing. What did he do? Vanish into thin air? I think he must be a warlock. In any case, I don't see the point in returning to the pawn shop. If he'd wanted me to know why my eyes were glowing in the dark, he could have just told me. If there's anyone who can help me now, it's my knight in the shining newsboy cap. He vanished into thin air, or rather, he appeared out of it, and his eyes are the same color as mine, which is incredibly striking. I think he's one of them. One of us, whatever we are. Did the old man have hazel eyes? Possibly. All I really noticed was the long grey beard, which is very uncommon, even in a man of his age. If his eyes were hazel too, then we're all one and the same. I wonder, can I pop from place to place at will? Well, diary, I just tried it, and no luck so far. Maybe I'm missing a magic spell. September 12th, 1921. Diary, do you know who I was 3 weeks ago? I was a normal, upstanding girl. I worked for a respectable, boring, bland, mundane man named Mr. Levy, and I typed all day long. Apart from sore fingers, I had no problems. I made a good income, and slept in a nice apartment, and had normal friends, and had even refused an offer of marriage. Now, I am sitting in the police station. It's all a mix-up, and I'm sure they'll let me go soon, but what a tragedy I've befallen. My knees are all scraped up, and I've lost my handbag. Some crook in a red tie stole it from me. I was walking home after work, and when I turned a corner, this man jumped out and snatched my bag. I screamed and clawed at him, but he was away in a flash. Naturally, I ran after him. I dodged through people on the sidewalk, shrieking, "Thief! Thief!" like some demented bird. I lost sight of him for a minute, turned a corner, and then I spied the back of his head. He stood beside a fruit stall, smelling a peach, like he hadn't just been running away. I lit into him, slapping the back of his coat and yelling and demanding he give me back my bag. He turned around and, oh dear, his tie was yellow. I'd been slapping the wrong man. My thief had gotten away, and the man in the yellow tie was so angry, I ended up at the police station. I'm a cute little thing, and I can't imagine they'd really keep me here overnight. Once I explained about the handbag, The policeman asked me more about the thief than about my misdirected assault and battery. But isn't this the limit? I keep thinking things can't get any worse. And then I lose my handbag. Pretty soon I won't have a job, and I'll be living in the alley behind my apartment. I wouldn't mind this adventure so much. If someone would just tell me what is going on. September 13th, 1921. Things keep on getting weirder. The man with the yellow tie called on me at my apartment today while I was at work. He left flowers with Mrs. Kubler, and I'm staring at them right now. They're yellow and pink and blue, and they look like a fairy postcard. They're in a little short blue vase, and they burst out around the top like a ball. The fragrance is heavenly. The card says, Hector Renfield, and it's got a phone number on it. I wonder, have I attracted a suitor? He was mad as hornets when I hit him on the street. I suppose he found out about the handbag incident later, and he feels bad about it. Well, I'll assume they're apology flowers, and leave it at that. I'd be too embarrassed to call and thank him, just in case he asked me out for dinner. He seemed at least 15 years older than me, and I don't think I want a marriage like that. Look at me jumping to proposals of marriage, just because I got some flowers. They are very nice flowers, though. So is his suit. He's probably terribly rich. Maybe I can marry him and buy everything in McGillicuddy and Murders. Do you know, I miss that old pawn shop. I feel like my life's one little window of goodness and adventure has been shut. McGillicuddy and Murders doesn't want me back, and now that something really weird, really remarkable, has happened to me, I'm not content to stroll around and look at statues anymore. I want the real thing. Real mystery, real intrigue, real passion, real life. But I have no idea how to get started. September 14th, 1921. Mr. Renfield called on me tonight. I was just about to put on my slippers, read a book, eat peanuts, and enjoy the company of no one at all, when Mrs. Kubler knocked on my door. "That gentleman is here again to see you, dear," she said. I jumped out of my skin. I had just enough time to powder my nose and reapply my rouge before he stepped in my door. He wasn't carrying flowers this time. He was carrying a book. Mr. Renfield is a handsome man, almost 6 feet tall, with a thin little mustache. He wore a pinstriped suit, so clean it looked glossy. His tie was yellow, just like the other day when I attacked him. "Miss Merkel," he said, "I hope this is a convenient hour for me to call." Yes, please come in." Mrs. Kubler made rather a show of leaving the door open, so I knew she'd be keeping an eye on me. I felt safe enough. "Won't you sit down?" I said. He did. When he sat down on my sofa, I felt my heart go belly up. "Miss Merkel, I have a confession to make," he said. I was sitting there, hating the sound of my own name, when all of a sudden his tie changed colors, right in front of my eyes. It went from yellow to red. Never mind that this man could perform magic tricks with his tie. Never mind that something impossible had happened right before my eyes. I was focused on something else entirely. I yelped, hit by a flash of insight. "You stole my handbag!" I cried. Mr. Renfield shrugged, in a mute apology. "I needed your address." This fiend had snatched my handbag, then changed the color of his tie, then stood there looking at peaches. He'd known I hadn't gotten a good look at his face. I'd attacked the right man, after all. I stood, ready to scream for Mrs. Kubler. Mr. Renfield stood too, and he opened the book. The page revealed the drawing of an eye, just like the one on my teacup. "I know what's happened to you," Miss Renfield said. "Please, I can explain everything." We hope you've enjoyed episode 4, The Man with the Color-Changing Tie, of McGillicuddy and Murder's Pawn Shop. McGillicuddy and Murder's Pawn Shop is written and performed by Minerva Sweeney Wren. All rights reserved. Please subscribe, share it with your friends, and support Minerva Sweeney Wren at patreon.com/Sweeney Wren. McGillicuddy and Murder's Pawn Shop will continue next week with episode 5, The Night Enthusiasts.